Haha! Ihr dachtet wohl, das war's wirklich schon, ne? Nein! Da war's noch nicht. Es gibt noch Bonusmaterial. Und zwar, ich hoffe, das nimmt ihr hier auch mit auf. Hier. Wir haben hier Bilder. Und die muss ich doch mal zeigen hier. Wenn wir hier schon die CD-Version und nicht die Steam-Version haben, wo nämlich auch noch Bonusmaterial drauf ist. Das waren jetzt hier quasi die 3. Dann ist das doch herzallerliebst. So, was haben wir hier? Aus der ersten Episode. So, sind wir durch. Schön. Toll, ne? Das gibt's auch noch bei der zweiten. Tada! Ja, sehr gut hier. So, dann haben wir die dritte. Da kommt er gerade angerauscht. Genau, mit dem Gebäude. Das hatten wir schon. So, die vierte. Bäh. Wo war denn das? Ich kann mich echt nicht dran erinnern. So, die letzte Episode. Stinky war das. Stay awake, New York. Giant Max Rampage enters second week. So, das war jetzt ja nicht so viel, wie ich dachte. Dann haben wir noch Konzeptart. So sah das also mal aus, als es nur auf Papier da existierte, beziehungsweise eingescannt wurde. Die Taschenlampe hat sie irgendwie nicht geschafft. Der ist doch aus Monopoly, oder täusche ich mich? Das ist doch dieser alte Sack, der da in seinem Autochen immer mit Monopoly rumbedüst ist. Das heißt, nee, nicht im Auto. Oder war der in einem Auto? Es gab ein Auto, aber ich glaube, es gab auch noch den Typen einzeln. Bin mir jetzt gar nicht so sicher. So, hier sind wir einmal durch. Sieht cool aus. Und jetzt haben wir die Videos. Jetzt bin ich ja mal gespannt, ob das irgendwie funktioniert.
Are you afraid of leaving your house? Scared of what the future might bring you? Don't be a fool. Future Vision provides you and your loved ones with a glimpse into your personal future. Do you want to know what will come of your future decisions today? Just use Future Vision and you'll be dodging bullets.
Make me a sandwich.
Sorry, Jimmy. Just listen to our testimonials.
I never won in the lottery before. Now I win all the time. I wasn't really sure what to think of the future vision at first, but now my job depends on it.
America's #1 reason for divorce. Creating time paradoxes since 2042 because we already know you will buy it, stupid. Order now for only 32 easy payments of $79.99 and receive your own future vision. Includes free nutrition specs. This offer is limited time only, so call now. This product may cause headache, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, mindworms, drowsiness, irritation of the respiratory tract, and
Die ganze Nebenwirkung. Ah, schön. Ach, PS3. Habe ich mich doch nicht geirrt. Wusste ich's doch. So, müssen wir mal ein bisschen so schieben hier das Ganze.
Are you afraid of leaving your house? Scared of what the future might bring you? Don't be a fool. Future Vision provides you and your loved ones with a glimpse into your personal future. Worried about what your stupid kids will do?
I'll take good care of the house while you're away, Dad.
Future Zoom mode of Future Vision informs you of horrible things to come. Tough break, Johnny. Just listen to our testimonials.
Finally, I actually know what I'm talking about.
Thanks to Future Vision, no one can sneak up on me ever again.
Das hat Weißgurt.
America's #1 reason for divorce. Creating time paradoxes since 2042 because we already know you will buy it, stupid. Order now for only 32 easy payments of $79.99 and receive your own Future Vision. Includes free nutrition specs. This offer is limited time only, so call now. This product may cause headache, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, mindworms, drowsiness, irritation of the respiratory tract, and loss of consciousness.
Mindworms. So, Future Vision 3. Was gibt's jetzt wieder Lustiges?
Are you afraid of leaving your house? Scared of what the future might bring you? Don't be a fool. Future Vision provides you and your loved ones with a glimpse into your personal future. Don't know which flight you should take? Thanks to Future Vision's patent-pending lock and load technique, you can simply target the object of your desired future. Just listen to our testimonials.
When I started gambling, I used to always get beaten up because I couldn't pay my debts. But now, thanks to Future Vision, I only get beaten up because of cheating.
I looked into the heart of this universe, and I saw toys!
America's #1 reason for divorce. Creating time paradoxes since 2042 because we already know you will buy it, stupid. Order now for only 32 easy payments of $79.99 and receive your own Future Vision. Includes free nutrition specs. This offer is limited time only, so call now. This product may cause headache, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, mindworms, drowsiness, irritation of the respiratory tract, and loss of consciousness, gastroenteritis.
So call now. Was haben wir jetzt hier?
We are here to celebrate Sam & Max Season 3. So we're going to premiere the trailer and to kick off GDC in the best way possible. Sounds good.
It's Flash Guybrush.
I'm Steve Purcell, and I'm the creator of Sam and Max Freelance Police. I have the ideal situation with them because these guys are brilliant game designers and really smart writers, and so they totally understand these characters, and they don't have any trouble getting up to speed as to who these characters are.
The biggest, the baddest, the best, the weirdest, the greatest, most beautiful Sam and Max ever is going to be released next month. It's the Devil's Playhouse.
The best you can hope for when you're working with a company is like, oh, maybe they'll make something that I can stand to look at. But what's really rare is when they make stuff that you're really proud of. And so they can keep doing this as long as they want to, as far as I'm concerned, because every time they blow me away with what they come up with. Thanks again for coming, and I'm excited to see this trailer myself.
Write nice things about us tomorrow during the press because we appreciate it and we love you. So.
Aha. Warum ist das ja eigentlich eine MP4 und die anderen beiden eine Move? Na, jetzt bin ich ja mal gespannt. Oh, ich sehe gerade, hier passt es gar nicht so rein.
Having surfed the highway, hit the road, saved the world, and conquered space and time, you'd think that the world would have just about run out of thrills for a stoic detective dog and maniacal, hyperkinetic rabbity thingy. But if we've learned anything from Sam and Max's illustrious 30-year career, it's to never underestimate the freelance police. Not when it comes to fighting crime, and especially not when it comes to off-the-wall entertainment. With Sam and Max, The Devil's Playhouse, the third season of Telltale's episodic adventures having just hit digital distributors, we thought we'd take this chance to offer a retrospective look at the life and times of these anthropomorphic Avengers and what makes them tick.
When I was a kid, I would do my own comics. I had like Super Stooge and things like that. I would do like superhero parodies and stuff like that. And my kid brother, he was doing these detective characters, and they were called Sam and Max, and they were a dog and a rabbit. He would leave his unfinished comics lying around in the house, and as a typical mean older brother, I'd take his comics and I would, if he hadn't finished the story, I'd finish it out in a parody of his style. And so I'd have the characters kind of over-explaining everything they did, and they would kind of make fun of the way they were drawn, and I would draw their hand, with the thumb on the wrong side and the perspective wrong, and everything I could think of to make him irritated. And ultimately, that kind of developed into their own style of relating to each other, and he lost interest in the characters, and one year for my birthday, he gave me a little document that said I could have the characters from that point on. And I ended up doing my own stories with those characters. And once I got to art school, and I actually had to, do them in a figured out style for the first time when I was doing the school paper strip. During the 80s, there was kind of a black and white comics boom, and a friend of mine was doing a comic called Fish Police and was having a successful time, publishing his own book, and wanted to do a second title. He had seen a few of my Sam and Max strips and asked me if I wanted to do a full comic, and so I thought about it, and I had never done more than a few pages of them at a time, and so I ended up taking about 4 months and drawing the one Sam and Max comic. In case I never had a chance to do another one, I just put everything I could into it and had a great time, and had a chance to do a couple more after that for different publishers.
Following Sam and Max's initial run at Fish Wrap Studios, Steve sought work as a freelance artist, taking illustration jobs at Marvel, Fantagraphics, and First Comics, drawing pre-established characters in ongoing series. But it was in 1988 when Steve answered an ad at LucasArts that his oddball crime fighters began to edge themselves back into the spotlight.
It was shortly after I had done my first Sam and Max comic, and a friend of mine that I knew from the comic convention circuit had seen it and knew that at LucasArts they were looking for artists that they could train to work on the computer to do game art. Because they figured it was easier to train somebody that could draw to use a computer rather than train a computer guy to draw. So a few of us went up there to interview, and I ended up getting hired right away to work on a game that was immediately canceled about a week after I was hired. So I went home and then got another call from them and came back. The first assignment I had was to paint the cover for Zach McCracken, which was great. And then that rolled me into doing game art for, I believe the first game was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I did backgrounds and animation for, and then right after that, Monkey Island.
The point-and-click adventure genre was in its infancy, and Steve found himself playing an active part in its creation, working on art for classic titles like Loom and Maniac Mansion. As Steve flourished at Lucas, his comic book creations found a new audience with the company's staff, earning cameos in various LucasArts titles and even given a full-page color comic strip in the monthly LucasArts newsletter, The Adventurer.
They had asked me if I was interested in doing a strip for the Adventurer, and the only way I was interested enough to be excited about it was if I could do my own characters, and so I kind of put out the idea of doing Sam and Max, and that was a lot of fun because I got to kind of parody whatever game was coming out. But what was going on with Sam and Max is that people within the company sort of knew them already from the comics, and they sort of were like unofficial mascots in the game company. And in fact, there were even little animated versions of them, very similar to what the models look like for Hit the Road, and those were used by the programmers to train, using the SCUM system.
I'm a comic book guy, a reader, fan. I had a little knowledge of the characters coming into the company when I first joined, and instantly got a lot more exposure to them because they were everywhere. They were in the training tools for our development tools at the time, and of course Steve Purcell worked there, so we were pretty much soaking in it pretty quickly. So I knew a lot about him. The my boss over at LucasArts at the time, after a couple of games we were trying to start up didn't come together, took me and Sean Clark out to a bar and said, we really like these Sam and Max characters that we keep using around the office. Let's build a game out of them. And that's pretty much how it came to be, and you guys run it.
And so at one point when it was time to do a new game, Kelly Flock, the president at the time, came to me and asked me if I would license Sam and Max to LucasArts to make a game out of them. And I was amazed that a George Lucas company was coming to me to license something that I made.
Ja, so waren die damals. Cool, du kannst zeichnen, du kannst bei uns anfangen. Ich habe übrigens eine Idee für einen Comic. Später, erstmal machst du jede Menge Scheiß für uns. Ungefähr so lief das damals. Eine hanebüchene Story, aber lustig. So, was haben wir jetzt hier? Eine MOV-Datei.
Sam & Max Hit the Road began development at the LucasArts Entertainment Company in 1992, during a time period many gamers would look back fondly on as the golden age of adventure games. Employing much of the team behind Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, another iconic LEC classic, Hit the Road was the second collaborative effort between Steve Purcell, Colette McCod, Mike Stimley, and Sean Clark, a veritable dream team of LucasArts point-and-click superstars, and the first video game adaptation of Purcell's Dog and Rabbit Detectives, taking cues from the 1989 Sam & Max story On the Road.
There's a lot of trust involved, and the more the team you feel that they know the characters, the more confident you feel. So in this case, Mike Stamley was a comics fan, and Sean Clark knew the characters already. So and I was in the building the whole time. I was just trying to spread myself as thinly as possible and do some animation and do some writing and do some background. So I was just trying to be around as much as possible, and I just felt confident with that group, and sure enough, I think we pulled it off.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I think as time goes on, people remember it better than, it's sort of a heretical notion, but I think people remember it even better than it actually was, because as funny as it was and as absolutely gorgeous as it was, and as good as a lot of the puzzles were, there are some puzzles that I look back now and go, oh man, we were really just trying to punish the player with this one, weren't we? The whole extendy arm with the hand on the end of it to get in the giant ball of twine is like, oh, that's hard, man. And it's not like today where we've got, a hint system backing us up to actually kind of continuously throw hints at you to help you through the game. It's like, nope, you don't get it, you're stuck. And you didn't have a web page out there for you to go look up the actual answers. You kind of had to talk to people or go to some kind of obscure bulletin board someplace to find out the answers. But I'm obviously very happy with the reception of it and how people have kind of grown to love it over the years. Makes me very happy.
There's always stuff you wish you could go back and do over again, and so there's always little things that you look at and, oh man, I wish we could have a little bit more time for that. But ultimately the reception from the fans was so great that and once some time passes, then you can kind of look at your work and not worry about it so much.
Hit the Road's 1993 release was met with universal acclaim, and quickly earned it a place in the point-and-click Hall of Fame, with many gamers touting the duo's cross-country exploits as an archetypal example of adventure gaming done right. The fans, of course, demanded more, a wish that came close to fruition on 2 separate occasions. 2001 saw the announcement of Sam & Max Plunge Through Space, an ill-fated action-adventure starring Purcell's freelance police, and developed by Infinite Machine, an equally ill-fated startup born of former LucasArts employees. Unfortunately, Infinite Machine went bankrupt within a year of the game's initial announcement, dooming the game to obscurity. However, Sam & Max faithfuls hardly had a chance to lament, as 2002 saw the announcement of Sam & Max Freelance Police, a fully 3D point-and-click adventure game spearheaded by members of the original Hit the Road team, and along with Full Throttle 2, Hell on Wheels, part of LucasArts' planned adventure genre revival.
Freelance Police was going to be a point-and-click 3D adventure game. There was a lot of in 6 chapters. That's pretty much all I can really say about it as far as the actual story. But and there was talk near the end of we could do this episodically. We could sell it episodically, and I don't know, the market hadn't quite matured to the point where we could pull it off. And then the company went another direction, as they say euphemistically.
Yeah, Sam & Max Freelance Police, it was great because I was working with Mike Stemley again, and of course he knows the characters really well, and we worked out kind of an epic saga that we were going to break up into shorter pieces, and of course, those guys were carrying the weight of the project on their backs, and I was coming in and getting to consult along the way, and I would do some character designs and things like that, and it felt like the project was progressing in a really good way, and Mike had a really good handle on it, and I was loving the animations that were coming out, and they would send me files all the time that were fun to see. It was like getting a little present every day to kind of see what was up.
It was on March 3rd, 2004, that LucasArts canceled production on Sam & Max Freelance Police. Fans were furious, bombarding LucasArts with emails, phone calls, and letters regarding Sam & Max's doomed resurrection. The cry for the canceled sequel peaking at SaveSamandMax.com, where a petition for the revival of Freelance Police garnered over 32,000 signatures.
So much time had passed since there had been a major Sam & Max project. It was actually really surprising that there were so many people that were so invested in having this game come out, and so it was like they were the surrogates for me. I didn't even have a chance to respond that much, and suddenly there was this outcry, which was actually very gratifying.
I think there was a major shift at LucasArts at the time, and that's it was one of those projects that was in process when the shift happened. So I think that was the reason why they stopped work on it.
Full-scale adventure games, even by then, were getting economically unfeasible because you could sell, the same amount you always could, but they were getting way expensive to make because, the 3D tools hadn't, the 3D tools for making them hadn't matured enough, and, they all had these cinematic cutscenes, blah, 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 and events. So you can see why, given the choice between making an adventure game that's I know can sell this much if it's good, and I could build this game with an action adventure 3D shooter game of some sort, that if it's okay, might sell 5 times as much and cost about the same. I may go with that for now. So the adventure genre was waiting for a new way to market the games, I think. I mean, I don't know too much about the number stuff.
Da gab es also schon einen 3D-Prototypen sozusagen und sie haben ihn gecancelt. Na, ganz clevere Idee. Nee. Nein! So.
Following the fan outcry that accompanied the cancellation of Freelance Police, Sam and Max found themselves indefinitely shelved from the public eye, and with their contractual obligations to LucasArts fulfilled, the dog and rabbit duo were without a home for the first time in years.
I had a contract with LucasArts, a licensing contract for the for Freelance Police, and when that expired, I was able to talk to other companies about, doing a new project. Because I always make sure if somebody's not going to do something with my characters that the rights will come back, so I'll have another shot at it. And so I went out and had a lunch with Dan and Kevin at this Bavarian sushi place over in Emeryville, and they pitched me on the idea of doing an episodic series, and I was totally won over.
The way we see it is it allows for the player to experience the game over a 6-month period or a 5-month period, depending on the release schedule, and they can enjoy it in a different chunk of content, so they can stay engaged and continue to participate with it like they would a favorite television show or other forms of entertainment.
For the first couple seasons, usually the process would be we'd go out for a couple of kind of dinners where we would sort out broad beats of stories and just talk broadly about what kinds of things we wanted to see in a season, and just try to crack each other up and think of a lot of random ideas that we could find ways to pull together into something more cohesive, or as cohesive as a Sam and Max thing needs to be. So those were fun kind of brainstorming sessions, and then along the way they would kind of keep me apprised of what was going on, and if I had a chance I would contribute character designs or things like that. But usually the process was for me to be more involved early on.
Part of the appeal of Sam & Max is you can pretty much drop them in anywhere. The fun is seeing how they react to stuff instead of whatever situation you can put them in. So it's not like it's hard to find weird things for Sam & Max to do. I think the bigger challenge was taking graphic adventure games, which have traditionally been such a niche market, and finding a way to streamline it for more casual audiences.
We set out to build the company. That was something we really were going for, is if by episode 3 we could have people saying, when's 4 going to be here, when's 5 going to be here, then it would be a success, because it would be creating that feeling of anticipation versus that feeling of exhaustion. When I finish a full product, a 20-hour game or a 40-hour game or even 12-hour game, it's almost like, thank God it's done, I'm gonna rest for a while. Whereas with the episodic stuff, it's kind of getting doled out and you're engaged for a long time.
First episode goes out for a series and, people are all complaining about X, Y, and Z. Maybe we can get X fixed by the time episode 2 comes out. We can definitely get Y and Z fixed by the time the 3rd episode is out. So the games get better.
I never had any issues with the idea of an episodic release. I always thought it was a great format for Sam & Max, since a lot of the stories that I used to do with them were in a few pages, and so I think the style fits them really well, because it allows you to kind of jump around. You can have an overarching theme, but then you can jump around and kind of try these different themes within that, which I like a lot and think it's perfect for the characters.
They've done an amazing job in the first 2 seasons, both building up the whole concept of episodic gaming in general, and maintaining the voices of the characters. I'd like to think Steve's happy with what we've been doing.
GamePro, alles klar. Was das denn?
Yes, yes. Oui? Sie? Da? Ja?
Nein, es gibt keinen Schnitzel.
Who was it?
That was our affectionate yet surly boss, the Commissioner, Max, with some final information about an intergalactic primate.
Do you know when you're geared up, your nostrils shatter like a birthing narwhal?
And here he is, Arthur J. Thompson. Arthur had a terrific childhood, but reading silly comic books made him daydream a lot. How rude. Luckily, his father knew exactly how to raise that little punk. And in school, he quickly made friends. What a lucky kid. Quiet. Humph. And later, he found a brilliant job, full of surprises. You're fired.
Oh.
And so Arthur J. Thompson became General Skunkapi, willing to fulfill his prophecy, finding the mightiest toys in the galaxy to become the most powerful ape ever. And his next station on his way to glory is planet Earth.
Yay! Skunk Ape visits Earth! What exactly is he up to? Probably bringing us a message of peace and love! Find it out on April 15th in the first episode of The Devil's Playhouse, The Penal Zone! A game by Telltale!
Was muss man rauchen, um auf so einen Trailer zu kommen? Schön. Jetzt wissen wir also, warum Stunkaffe überhaupt Stunkaffe geworden ist. Wahrscheinlich war er vorher nur Affe.
It has been 1 week since the tragic... It has been 1 week since the tragic turn of events that transformed Max from irrepressible scamp to... F*** me. One more time.
I thought my acid reflux tasted less cootery the last time I was... I'm shit crap kids.
Well, here we are in Max's stomach.
Ruminate! Ruminate! Trespassers will be digested! Oh, my body is changing. We can't leave the spaceship now. There's still so much ape thwarting to do. That's hard to say. We can't leave the spaceship now. There's still so much ape thwarting to do. Ape thwarting, I said.
So, das war's mit den Zusatzsachen hier. Alles gesehen, alle Goodies, alles durch. Jetzt bedanke ich mich nochmal fürs Zuschauen und wir sehen uns definitiv wieder. Wer übrigens dieses erste Mal jetzt über diesen Kanal gestolpert ist und sagt, hey, cooles Zeug da auf dem Kanal, einfach mal ein Abo dalassen, da freue ich mich. Und auch mal bei den anderen Playlisten durchschnüffeln, da gibt's jede Menge anderes Zeug zu sehen. Für alle anderen, die schon längst abonniert haben, erstmal Dankeschön an euch. Ja? Ohne euch wäre der Kanal nur so langweilig. Und ich freue mich auf ein Wiedersehen in einem anderen Let's Play. Jetzt, diesmal wirklich, Schluss. Sam und Max, diesmal ganz Schluss. Schade. Bis denn. Tschüss.